So hello, welcome back. Today is a great day because when Blue Note announced their classic series, I made a small video about the announcement, about the titles they announced, and then I saw that Kenny Burrell's Midnight Blue and Grand Green Idle Moments is one day. They will come out in one day. They didn't came out exactly on one day, at least not for me. They came 2 days apart, but I said, my God, Idle Moments and Midnight Blue on one day, that's huge. Oh, it can't get any better. How great is that? And so today is the day. Today's the day where we talk about these two giant editions, these two giant jazz albums from Grand Green and Kenny Burrell. But before we go into them and do a shout out between the analog production 45 RPM and the Music Matters Jazz SRX versions, let me do a little shout out, a little but important shout out to a fantastic video Stunt Rock Confusion did. He finally made his long overdue video about his best albums of 2020. He really take the time he needed to do it, but the outcome is outstanding. It's such an entertaining and educational video about music that is a bit out there. It's a must-see in my opinion, due to the fact that his knowledge in this area is vast. It's unbelievable, and he plays these records. He gives you a very, very good introduction into each record. You can listen to them for a while. He talks about the record, so this is a must-see. I will link down this video in the comments in the video description so that you can reach it. If you're a little bit interested in not so common music, this is your video to go. Okay, but now come on. Shall we start with Midnight Blue or shall we start with Idle Moments? Let's take Idle Moments, Grand Green. Here we have Idle Moments, the classic series release. I wouldn't go so far and say that if you only want to get one album from Grand Green, get Idle Moments. But I would say that if you have one album of Grand Green and it is Idle Moments, you have a great one. It's beautiful, simply beautiful, and let's go through the musicians and the original recording date. It was recorded in 1964 with Joe Henderson on tenor sax, Bobby Hutcherson on the vibes, Grant Green on the guitar, Duke Parsons on the piano, Bob Crenshaw on bass, Al Harewood on drums. It has 2 songs on each side. First side is Idle Moments, and what a beautiful melodic album this is. You know, you can play that to almost anybody at any time. It's just strikingly beautiful and harmonic. Great one. And the classic release I have here is on the very, very good side. You have dead flat 180 gram vinyl pressed over at Optimal here in Germany. You of course have Kevin Gray as the mastering engineer, which goes for every 6 albums I show you today. Doesn't matter if it's the analog production or the Music Matters Jazz or the classic series. Anytime Kevin Gray has his hands on them, which of course is quite special. And you know what's very striking when it comes to this classic Blue Note classic series is that if you go through the titles, if you look at the price, if you look at the quality of the mastering and the decent pressing, I think it's very safe to say that this is a fantastic opportunity to build up a great jazz collection, or a great Blue Note collection, to be more precise. I think there is no title, they didn't choose any title, in my opinion, it's only my opinion of course, where you can say, no, don't get this one, this is a boring title. Those are all the big guns. In a way, if you are a serious jazz collector, I think these are all titles where it's safe to say that those are must-haves, and this is a great opportunity, because there is, in most cases, there aren't too many other releases where I would say this is an audiophile one, and in most of the cases where I would say this is an audiophile one, and this is an audiophile one, from they put out now, you have mostly you have the 45 RPM versions from Analog Production, or the Music Matters Jazz, sometimes as a 33 1/3, most time as a 45 RPM, or like in these both cases, the SRX versions. What makes the Music Matters Jazz releases so special, among other things, is that they have these gorgeous session photos with them. But the downside is that the Music Matters Jazz and the Analog Productions, they did 50 releases from Blue Note. The Analog Production are more and more hard to come by. The SRX versions, which is this one, are between 300 and 400 euros nowadays, and they only know one direction. I told you early enough, by the way. So in a way they are gone. The Analog Productions are going now in the same direction. They are not as expensive as the SRX, but they will go higher and higher and higher, I'm quite sure. So for the little Shootout, in this case, the best sounding version is, when it comes to my taste, in this case, the Analog Production 45 RPM, because it sounds perfectly harmonic. You know, the strength of this Idle Moments goes so beautiful hand in hand with the mastering and the vinyl quality we have here on this 45 RPM version, that this is my number one. My usual number one, the SRX version, due to the fact that this super vinyl is so damn beautiful quiet, is in this case on place number 2. On 3 is the classic series, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because those things are 10 to 15 to 20 times more expensive, and the classic series release is a great one. It's a great one. You can buy it. You will probably be happy. I haven't heard nothing wrong with this release. Dead flat, beautiful, quiet vinyl. Nothing wrong with this one. So now for the next fantastic release, Kenny Burrell, Midnight Blue. What I've said about the Idle Moments release from Grant Green goes here simultaneously, the same. We have Stanley Turrentine on tenor sax, Kenny Burrell on guitar, Major Holly Jr. on bass, Billy English on drums, Ray Barretto on conga. It is recorded in 1963. Once more, mastering throughout all releases done by Kevin Gray, pressed over at Optimal. My release, dead flat, silent, beautiful one. You know, they can do something more when it comes to the jacket, but come on, we're talking about 22 euros. all fine, all good, great sounding, beautiful, perfect release in this price range. I really don't think that I have to tell you much about the musical quality of Midnight Blue. Again, maybe the Kenny Burrell album to get, although I'm always careful when it comes to this kind of statements. Give me a second. Then I have here the SRX version from Music Matters Jazz. Let's have a look into the session photos, which of course are always very, very special. You can see here Kenny Burrell. What a great photo. And the analog production 45 RPM version. Ranking in this time is number 1 the SRX, number 2 the analog production, number 3 the classics. So, but I really don't want to put too much weight on this ranking, because I always feel that like that is not that fair. Every time interesting part to me is we have Kevin Gray here with an upgraded mastering chain, pressed at optimal. Earlier on, Kevin Gray pressed at RTI, pressed at QRP. And I got the confirmation from Kevin Gray in the interview Danny and me did with him that these sounds better. So that really opens the mind and shows us how damn important the pressing plant is. Unbelievable. Before I digged into this series, I always thought that the pressing plant is important, of course, but it has, if it's done right, it's done right. But you can't say that Optimal does something wrong. They are not wrongly pressed, of course not. But still, the quality difference is huge. It's so interesting how damn important the pressing plant is. That was really an eye-opener to me when it comes to the classic series and the comparison between the analog productions and the RTI versions. So that's it for the next round of the classic series from Blue Note. Can't wait to the next titles. I think as now autumn and winter is coming, they will speed up things. I think we will see now every month 2 releases from the classic series and 2 Blue Note Tone Poet releases. So there will be a lot to talk about when it comes to Blue Note. That's it. Watch Stunty's video, it's great. Thank you for your time. Hope to see you on my next video. Bye.